All right, so we're going to do some dragons. To do it, you're going to want one of these smooth diamonds here that have the edges on it. A little bit of the edge. You maybe don't want it too sharp, but this is the one I've been using for a long time. Now I've done a very simple dragon here. I'm kind of going to go over how to do the head. The head is just kind of, I'll draw it a little bigger on the other side so you can see it. It's mainly just a circle, and then it's got a little line that comes out for the snout, like that. And then the jaw comes down like this. And then you got an eye. I know that may look a little jankety right now, but trust me, you'll see. So let's get that wiped off and we'll get started. When you're using the diamond wheel, make sure to turn it up as high as it can go. All right. So, I'm going to start by doing the face. I'm going to make that cheek. I'm going to drag it over. I'm going to go up. This is his snout. I'm going to go down. And then I'm going to make it connect. And you can see there's a little hole here where his snout's going to be. You can kind of already start to see his eye if you use your imagination. Just going to drag this over here. And now he kind of has an eye. Gonna drag this down. And this face works for Japanese style or Chinese style dragons, or European style, the ones with the wings. Doesn't matter. The basic facial structure is roughly the same. Now I've got a line here that shows the body, and we're gonna go over the spines and such. So first thing I'm gonna do, kind of like what we did with palm trees, gonna draw in that line. Okay, now I'm gonna make it a little thicker towards the middle. This is where his limbs are gonna go if I decide to add those later. I want the end of his tail to be a little thin, so I'm only thickening the first part. I'm going to just give it a little bit of meat right here. Okay, and we just make sure that this kind of lines up with that. All right, so now we're going to do our belly scales. That is exactly the same technique as a palm tree. And once I get more towards the center of his belly, I'm going to go from going up and down to going sideways, so that I can get bigger scales all in one swipe. Okay. And just like the palm tree, I'm not really lifting it up too much. I'm just kind of dragging it sideways in between scales, and what that does is that fills in the empty area and doesn't give you all those gaps that might happen if you just lift it completely off. And you see, I kind of have to reposition as I'm going around the curl of his tail. Okay, see, so that's what we got so far. For me, I would like to add a little more girth right here. So So I'm just going to go back to the top. And just a little bit. See? Just a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm going to do a little more work on his face, because one of the fundamentals of deep cut engraving, the thing that comes out closest to your face is the thing you have to cut the deepest. So I'm going to go over his cheek again and make it a little deeper. Only his cheek. You don't have to go over everything, just the stuff you want to accentuate. Now I'm going to go over his nostril, and I'm doing a side cut, so kind of like what you're doing when you do serifs on block. Same principle. See, I use the side of the wheel, so now I got a deep cut right there. I'm going to do the same thing with his eye. Going to do deep cut. Deep cut. Deep cut. So now he's got kind of an eyebrow going on. I'm going to give him a horn. You can connect it right there. Now he's got two horns. Again, I'm trying to do the abridged version, and the ear. He's got an ear too. We're going to do a serif right there, and then we're going to do a serif on the other side. It's going to be hard to get it from that angle, so I'm going to flip it over. So you see I almost got a V. Now we're going to put a couple cuts in the middle. Same thing. Serif. Looks like it's got a little fan there. Gotta flip it over. See, I'm using the edges of the wheel, so now it looks like it fans out. Now, what we're going to do, usually I'll throw a wing on there or something, but right now we're going to focus on doing the spine on the back. Again, this is just a generic dragon. Could be a Japanese one, could be in a European one. So the movement, I'll do it really big here on this side, is I'm cutting a straight line like that, using the side of the wheel. But what I'm doing, let me go back to where I was. What I'm doing is I'm going to hook it in like that. So you almost got a shark fin. Again, we're going to use the side of the wheel. If you have one with a really sharp edge, you get an even more dramatic thing. But that's kind of your scales right there. And you hook it. You got to hook it. If you just do this, it's not really going to give you the same effect. You got to add that little swoop at the bottom. See, I'll go there. So you're adding that little swoop. It's almost like a shark's tooth or something like that. So let's go ahead and add those to the back. Hopefully these aren't too distracting for you now. So you watch my hands. I'm making a straight line and I'm doing a quick little swoop at the end. And as I get closer to the end of the tail, these little spines are going to get smaller and smaller until they're barely even visible. Especially when you're making a dragon this size. But you want to always make them move along with the body of the dragon. here. And as I get towards the end of the tail, I'm not swooping anymore. I'm just touching them on there. To where it's basically down to almost nothing. You see, now you're just going to look for holes. So you just touch that. Now it's full. All right. And a nice effect is if you add a little V right here, like a little pointy thing. So I'm good. This is the same exact technique as making the scales. Exactly. Boom. I'm gonna go back over here, like I'm making a letter V in block. Boom. So you can get a little point at the end. I've kind of exaggerated it. It doesn't always have to be that much. If you're making a Chinese dragon, you can make a little, you know, streams at the end. That's more of like the European one. But yeah, with it's a little noisy. But then you can go back with your fine tip. Again, I can do wings at a later time and limbs. I'm trying to keep this as short as possible. You can go back and you can add your teeth. Give them one long tooth and then a couple little ones after that. Long tooth. See, I'm curving it in. Same technique as your scales back here with the little curve. And then like an eye, you can just add a little highlight, like the white of his eye, a little curve there. And then a little dot. Boom. And that's basically the idea behind it. And, you know, if you want to, you can add, if you're doing a Chinese dragon, you can add little things back here. And sometimes Chinese dragons have little horns right here too. But yeah, you can have fun with it, but the basic structure is the same. If you want to add the little scales here, you can too. But when you polish it, it'll look good even like this. But anyway, I hope that answers your questions. Remember, with the scales, just do a straight line and a little should look like a shark fin. Thank you. If you have any questions, let me know.